so we'll see when they call in. We should get Roxy from Vixen with a new Vixen song to talk about. And okay, so Roxy's calling now, and maybe Fred. I think Fred's joining, but we're going to see. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But Fred was supposed to join because he worked on the track with them. All right, I don't see Fred calling in, but we do have Roxy, and we're going to go to her right now. And we are now joined by the drummer in Vixen, Roxy Petrucci. Hi, Roxy. How are you?
Hi, Eddie. I'm doing great. I'm actually fired up and exhausted at the same time. It's been a wild couple of days.
Yeah, I know how that
Yeah,
works for sure.
do.
So I thought Fred was joining us, but maybe not because he's not answering the phone. And I texted him, he didn't get back to me, so maybe he got derailed. I don't know, but I know
he'll
he
be
was
calling in, I'm sure.
Well, we'll see what happens, but I know he's a part of this record, and your exhaustion, I'm sure, comes from the fact that you're busy and excited to release this brand new song, the first new Vixen music in a while, called Red.
Yeah.
The single and video out today, so tell everybody about it.
Well, it's called Red, and I am exhausted and fired up. We're releasing this ourselves. We don't have a record label, so what it entails just to get a single out is huge. So I'm just dealing with a lot of that with my manager, but we're having a blast. We love the song, and Fred actually produced it, Fred Coury, and he'll be calling in, I'm sure, and talking about it. But no, this song is just fire, energy, and it pretty much represents this Vixen lineup. Just a ball of fire, tons of energy, and we're having a really good time together, and we're excited about the tune. When Fred brought it to us first on a demo, we knew, we listened to it, we thought this is going to be a great song for us right out of the gate. And when we played it and put it together, it was like, it just was pretty magical for us. It fits this lineup perfectly. I love the tune. Love it. Absolutely. It has elements of Vixen in it, the classic Vixen with the, the huge chorus, the catchy chorus, the harmonies, the big harmonies. And then it's fresh and new, like this lineup with Lorraine and Britt and Julia. They brought their own touches to it. And, of course, my heavy hitting behind it. So yeah, we're just digging it big time. And I think so far from the reaction we're getting, our fans are digging it too, which makes me very, very happy because I very much want to honor Vixen and the legacy and just the vibe of Vixen. I don't want to stray too far from it, but I have a brand new lineup, so it's not going to sound like the classic Vixen, but I think it's pretty fucking cool.
When you say Fred brought you the song, did he write the song? What's the origins of the song itself?
He wrote it with a couple other writers, and he had it sitting there. And we actually brought him a bunch of ideas of our own. And they were good ideas, but they were just all over the place. And he said, I think I have something for you guys that you'll probably like, because he really liked it, and he thought it might be good for us and fits the band and fits Lorraine's vocal. And when we heard it, we said, yeah, let's work this up and see how it feels. So yeah, it came from Fred and his writers, and I don't have their names handy right now, but you'll give it to him. He'll give it to you, I'm sure. But yeah, Fred's the man behind the song. And then we owned it. We put our touches on it and made sure that it suits us, just like Edge of a Broken Heart suited the classic Vixen.
Roxy, I was trying to think of this. When was the last time Vixen made new music or a new song or a new album? I don't know how long it's been.
2017, we released Live Fire. We recorded it live, and then we added 2 tracks, You Ought to Know By Now, and another one called Big Brother that was written even before I was in the band, before 1985, and it was a heavier tune that Jan had written, and we threw it in our live set, and it was really, really, really cool. I don't know why we never recorded that one, and maybe we will in the future. You never know. Never say never in this business. You know that.
Yeah, for sure. And you referenced the fact that it was important for you to honor what was Vixen and what is Vixen now. Can you talk a little further about that? Because you are, in most people's eyes, I know the lineage, as you said, there might have been somebody in the band before you, but to most people, you're viewed as the sole original member of the band and the one kind of flying the flag from the old era. And then you've got, three ladies that have come in at different periods. So can you talk about the evolution of the lineup and how you feel about how it is now?
Well, let's see. Janet, well, obviously when Jan passed away, we weren't sure if we were going to continue on without her because Jan was the founder of Vixen. So we talked about it amongst ourselves and, of course, with her family and the fans. And they said, yeah, you need to. And we really wanted to. We just wanted to. We didn't want Vixen to end. That was Jan's dream, was to have Vixen just forever. So we continued on, and of course we had different guitar players at the time. We had Gina Style, and then we hired Britt after that. Then, of course, life gets in the way, and Janet had, between her family, and she had just gotten married, and she was starting to work with her husband, and she was doing her solo material. Things just got really crazy, and something had to give, and she decided to step back. And that was huge for me. I was like, oh, we're losing the voice of Vixen. This is going to be tough. Well, when she had the medical emergency, we had Lorraine step in just to sit in for that gig, and it felt right. I mean, Cher and I had worked with Lorraine back in the past, in 2000, early 2000. So we're basically from the same era and the same vibe and the same rock and roll attitude. And Lorraine, she nailed it. She did the song. She sang Vixen the way Vixen needs to be sung, and then we even added a Femme Fatale song, which was Waiting for the Big One, and it felt good. So when Janet pulled the trigger and said, yeah, I'm done for now, I'm going to go do my own thing, and we totally supported her because, her heart wasn't in it anymore. So we brought in Lorraine, and then Cher decided the same thing. She says, I got to step back for a while. She's taking a hiatus. And I thought, oh, okay. So I started looking for bass players. I said, okay, I'm going to bring somebody in temporarily until you're ready to come back. Of course, the door is always open. And Julia was highly recommended. So I talked to her for a little bit. I listened to her play. I saw her videos, and I thought, yeah, she's going to bring a certain energy to this band. Sure, why not? She has a great vocal, too. And background vocals are very key to Vixen. So she came in, and we started playing. I mean, she didn't even have rehearsal time, really. Her and Britt got together, started playing live shows, and it was just kind of magical. It just kind of worked. And, it's like, how lucky am I? It's not easy to find a band, and the chemistry just works.
That's just it, isn't it? I mean, you've got to have that chemistry on both levels. You got to have it musically, but you also have to have it personally, right? Because you're on the road, you're traveling a lot with these people. You got to make sure that clicks too, right?
Yeah, and I don't know them as well. I still don't. I know Lorraine. Britt's been in the band for 4 years now. I'm getting comfortable with her. Julie, I love her. She's just so easy. But I've done it all. I've been in the business for a long, long time. So they keep me on my toes. They kicked me in the ass. So I can't get comfortable. So this is keeping me, it's just keeping me, like I said, it's keeping me on my toes. So if they want to go out and go do their thing, it's like, okay, yeah, go do that, have fun. I'm going to sit in my room for a minute and just kind of veg. But no, I'm digging the whole thing, and we're having a really great time. And the bottom line is it's about the music, and that's what was really important to me. So when we decided to release Red, I gave it a lot of thought too. I said, this represents Vixen. It's going to be tough because it's just me. It's the drummer. I lost the singer, the guitarist, and the bass player. It's basically a brand new band. But luckily, I think we managed to keep that Vixen. There's still that Vixen thing in there. There's just that chorus, which people go, there it is. There it is.
Yeah. Absolutely, it has that,
think,
and we're gonna play it for people in a minute here. But yeah, it has that because you can hear there's elements of there's a modern flair to it, but it's still the essence of the band. It's still what you guys sound like, which I think is really, really good and important because, again, as you said, there are 3 different people in the band now from the classic lineup, but somehow you've been able to retain that.
Yeah. So I'm pretty stoked about that. It really is a fresh new take of Vixen 2023 going into 2024. And I just hope that, the fans can go along with it and they dig it. And they're just, it's about the music. Do you like the song? Great. Then, come party with us because the live show itself is just pretty incredible. We put on a great show. It's a lot of fun. Just enjoy what it is. Don't compare. If you like the song, you like the song. Don't go back and say, well, it doesn't sound like that. Well, it's not. It never will. Jan is gone. Jan was her riffs were signature to the Vixen sound. Janet's voice, her voice was the voice of Vixen. I can't, unless Janet comes back, I can't. I have Lorraine now. She's the voice right now, and she's doing a great job.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Janet is out there active and doing things, and I don't know if you saw the show she was in on Paramount Plus that they spotlighted her story a little bit. You're on good terms with her, right? I mean, you guys are all cool, right?
Oh, yes. In fact, I called her after that because she remembers things that I didn't remember. And that's the beauty of the experience that we had together. We're still very much in touch, me, her, and Cher. And when they do interviews, I mean, I watch what they do. I love Janet's material. I love what she released. I love her albums. Cher, she works with her husband too. I know that they work on music together. We have this unbreakable bond. It'll never go away. We experienced something that very few bands get to experience. We were on the road for years. We toured with the best: Deep Purple, Kiss, Ozzy, Scorpions. We still talk about it, and just the memories that they have, and I'll listen. I'll go, was I there? I don't remember that, and then I'll do the same, and they'll say, I don't remember that. What? So it's very special. It's very special,
no doubt it is. Yeah, it totally is. And I'm curious, I remember when you introduced Julia as the bass player because you did it at the Monsters of Rock Cruise pre-party, and I was there and I saw it, and I remember Cher bass. It was literally the passing of the bass at that time because Julia came out and finished the set. Cher started it, and it was a nice, amicable moment and changing of the guard there. But just for clarity on that, is Cher is Julia filling in, or is Cher out, or is she coming back? Like, what is the status of her in the band?
Cher is taking a hiatus.
So that would lead to that. That would lead people to believe she's going to come back, right? Yeah.
If she decides she wants to come back, she can come back. It is her spot.
Okay. So
and Julia fully understands that, and she's fine with that. She's like, I'll play as long as I need to play. Julia's busy with her other. She has plenty of people that would love to play with her too. She has
for people
no
that
getting gigs. I love having Julia in the band. I love working with her. And if Cher decides she doesn't want to come back, I'd love Julia to stay.
Yeah, Julia's very talented. I've known her before she was in Vixen. She's married to my good friend Richie Kotzen, and she had a great career in Brazil, where she's from, where she played in many bands. For people that don't know the history, she played with a bunch of different groups, and I think a pretty big artist in Brazil when she was younger. So she's a great addition to the band, and somebody that didn't just that's definitely put her time in and played with a bunch of different people.
Oh, and you can tell, and I could tell when I was playing with her because she locks right in with me. It's almost like I played with her before, and we had never played together. Our first gig was when she came in and she did those 3 songs with us, and I was like, yeah, she feels it. Wow. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Really important. We're the foundation. It's really important to me. To any band.
Yeah, so Roxy, we're going to play the song here in a minute. The single, again, it's out. It's called Red, and everyone will hear it shortly. But the obvious question here, is there a full record coming, or are you just going to do a single and see how it goes?
I think we're going to do a single now and see how it goes. But I think this is going to inspire us to do more. But right now we've been so busy playing. I mean, we were so busy over the summer, and we love playing live. And this band is a really good live band, and it's, a lot of showmanship and just a lot of fun. It's just very, to me, very Van Halen, early Van Halen. And what I mean by that is by show. David Lee Roth put on a show. Lorraine puts on a show. We include the audience. No matter how big, like we played Whackin', and I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands of people, but they engaged with us, and it was just really, really epic. But for now, we're concentrating on releasing this song. We're going to see how it goes, and if we have some good ideas to record, we'll lay them down. I don't mind the idea of releasing singles here and there. It seems like the attention span for a record is zilch these days. I don't mind waiting, releasing a single, keeping them fired up, and then we're fired up. But we'll see. No real plans. I'm just focused on releasing Red and seeing how our fans accept it. Hopefully they do.
Your keyboard player, Tyson Leslie, is a friend, and I was with him not long before you guys went to Germany to play that big metal festival, Wacken, and I remember, now that you say that, I remember him talking to me about it just before going over there. How did that, because that's a very prestigious, massive metal festival. I've never been, but I've heard about it. How did that all go for you? And does Vixen have a big following in Europe?
We did in the past, yeah, and I think we still do, because when we went on, it was packed. I mean, you're seeing a sea of people. And when we would play the Vixen hits, we're talking whack, and there was, some really heavy bands, right, singing death metal and stuff. And then, they're singing Edge of a Broken Heart with us and crying and How Much Love. So, yeah, we definitely have a big following in Europe. I still do to this day.
It reminds me of a story. I saw an interview once with Paul Stanley, and he was talking about Kiss would play these festivals in Europe that had all these super extreme metal bands on before or after them or leading into them, and they would always be like, well, maybe we shouldn't play I Was Made for Loving You tonight. And then one time they did it, and they said all these guys with these jackets with death metal logos on it were jumping up and down singing I Was Made for Loving You. So you can never quite figure it out.
Something doesn't look right.
Exactly.
But you know what? We're playing in Mexico City. We're in December 1st. We're doing the Life After Death Festival, and we're talking a lot of death metal on that. And so when they offered us the gig, to my agent, to Sullivan, I think you know him, and I said, Sullivan, they want Vixen on Life After Death, and he said, yeah, they do. So they're they appreciate good music. They just appreciate whether it's heavy, whether it's light. They don't care. They love music. It's cool. I mean, so it's a different scene over there in Europe. They're dedicated, very dedicated. It's pretty cool. It's very cool, actually. And they appreciate it, too, very much.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think about, Roxy, the career of Vixen, but then also even your career prior to that, Madam X, and the stuff that you've done. Like you said, you've been doing this for a long time. And documentaries seem to be a big deal these days. And I love docs on anything, music especially. And I think Vixen would be a great subject for a documentary. The whole arc of the band and the story of the band and the evolution of the band and the changes and being four women in hard rock at a time, in the 80s when everything was going on back then. Have you been approached about doing a documentary? Is that something that would be of interest to you at some point?
We have, actually. We have Janet, Sharon, and myself. But the thing is weeding out the ones that are actually legit, because a lot of people want to do documentaries, right? But we get so many requests for that. But yes, we definitely will be doing something like that in the future, because we do have stories to tell. We have ones that are going to stay in the vault. But there are plenty of stories, and we do, Vixen goes way back to probably late 70s with Jan, and then Janet joined, and then I joined, and then Cher. So we do have a lot of history, and I do have a lot of history with Madam X. I mean, Madam X has been around since forever, and a lot of stories with Madam X, all original members.
Oh, wow.
So have some exciting things going on, and I'm just going to keep doing this until I can't, till my hearing goes, which is pretty quick.
and a very, very valid point about the documentary thing, because even me in my position, I'm asked often to do commentary on them, and half of the ones I've taken time to do that, you find out they never see the light of day because it's inexperienced people. They don't know you got to clear music, that you can't just put audio or video or photos without getting clearances, and the next thing you know, you wasted your time and you're chasing your tail. So you got to find the right people, obviously, to do them.
Right. Well, I just did 2, and Maxine also, because they were very interested in Madam X stories, and this is legit, and it'll be out next year. And then another one I just did when we played at M3. They were there interviewing a few of the other bands too. So there's some cool ones that are going to be coming out pretty soon, and then also a movie going to be coming out called "Strip Away the Paint" or something, and it's actually about. I think Gene Simmons might be in it. Makeup and rock and roll. It's like a different type of. Yeah. So I don't know much about that one yet, but I did an interview for them too. So yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, rock and roll. People want to know. They want to know the behind the scenes. They want to know because it's not like that anymore.
Right.
So
right, yeah,
we lived
definitely.
our era was the era.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, last thing before I let you go and we play Red for everybody, we should mention that there's also a very cool video for this song that's been released. Tell me about making the video for Red.
Yes, that is directed by Drew Johnston from the band Kaleido and Vicente Cordero. It's basically in LA. It's got an LA type of vibe. It's live. We're playing live, but no audience. And we did some rooftop scenes. We did some, just behind the scenes stuff. That was a lot of fun. And it was pretty easy, not like back in the day where we would spend, $100,000 on a video and it took probably 2-3 days to shoot. We did this. It looks great. A lot of fun. Just a fun video. Just a fun video. Easy.
Look what we have here. Better late than never. Before we wrapped up, he's getting in just under the wire. Here he is,
Frederick?
The one and only Mr. Fred Coury. Fred.
Hi, everybody.
Let's
Fred,
go.
did you just wake up?
Yeah, did you just wake up? We just did 20 minutes, and we're talking about you, and now you're coming in and swooping into the 11th hour here, bud.
Well, that's, to swoop is an art form in itself. I'm so sorry. I've been slammed in the studio. I'm in the middle of doing a movie, and I was like, oh, they're going to call. And
Fred, tell them the other writers on the song, because I didn't have that written down before I forget.
Do what?
We're talking about the song Red and the writing of it and who wrote it, and Roxy couldn't remember who was involved besides you.
Yeah, so this is a song that way back, I wrote it with 2 of my favorites. There's Carly Greenberg, who's an amazing writer, and I've written a lot of things with her, and Peter Amato. And we've done a lot of things for Disney. We've done a lot of, the more popular things, and Carly is so great. Just both of them are so easy to write with. So we actually wrote this song a long time ago. This song was written for Hailstorm, and with her in mind. Yeah, this was for after the first record. Disney and all the people that were involved were like, "Oh, hey, there's this band," and people that used to write for Disney, and said, "Do you have something?" So we wrote this song and sent it to Lizzie, and she never responded, and maybe she never got it. And then Larry, who I've known forever, Larry Morand, he said, "Hey, I'm managing Vixen, and I've known Roxy, Trixie Petrucci forever," and she and they were like, "Hey, do you write like stuff that's poppier and just Pat Benatar? What do you have?" And I sent 2 songs over, and this was one of them. This is kind of one of my faves of all time, really, and they've loved it. And Larry said, "Hey, the girls want to do this song," and I said, "Oh my gosh, I'd be honored." And so we just went into the studio, and they nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Everybody. Britt, I've never worked with Britt before. I've seen her and this, that. But when you're sitting with somebody and you're under the microscope, watching them work, and then throwing things, so as a producer, I want to throw as much as I can into, especially guitar players. I love working with guitarists and vocalists. Roxy, I just knew she was solid as a rock, and she was going to be great. Solid as a Roxy. And she was, and she just crushed it. And then when it came to guitar, anything I threw at Britt, she nailed. And then so the solo, I was so happy, and at the end of it, and she was just stopping at normal, and I said, give me one of those, just give me in one sentence what you can do. And she just crushed that solo. And so she was great. And then Lorraine, that girl you can just go for hours and hours and hours, and she has I've never seen stamina like that. So everybody was amazing. The bass playing
you were amazing.
Perfect.
Fred was amazing. It was fun. It really was fun. He made it comfortable. And because he's a musician, he knows how to work with musicians, because he knows when you're recording, you feel naked. And any little thing can just puck you up, give him a dirty look, and it's like, I'm screwed for the rest of the night. So, no, he was very inspiring. And the fact that he was a drummer, and I think as far as our playing, we're pretty similar. We're about that, lay it down and give him a good foundation, makes the band sound, give him something to play off of. So except for a couple of kick drum things, I think we were pretty on point.
We got him. Yeah.
And Fred, I'm curious because, you've been on my shows before, and because you've scored, for people that don't know, you've got a great career scoring movies and TV series. We had you on for that sci-fi show not too long ago. We were talking about that a little bit. So you've moved into that world of doing music production and writing and scoring and all of that, which I imagine is pretty different than going in with a rock band and recording them. So is this something you haven't done in a while, and this kind of get you more interested in maybe going back into that world a little bit?
Well, yes, to answer your question, it's completely different. The only thing that I think I'm fortunate for having, that background is when I am working on a movie or a TV show, it's all about the dialogue and what they're saying. So I think of that as my singer, and never step on the singer. So that's kind of the rock vibe. And then going back in with a band, I don't think I've done a few productions of my own of songs, but like you said, I'm not writing songs when I'm writing for TV and film. I'm writing, completely different score. So having them in the studio was great, and it made me want to do it more because I loved working with them, and they are, little do you guys know, that they are naked in the studio. Just that was she was to say.
That's how we got them to do what we wanted them to do.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, they're in there, and when you're working with somebody for the first time, it's really kind of, you want to be as comfortable with each other as possible, and I don't want to step on toes, and they don't want to step on toes. And there was none of that. It was so easy. So yeah, it was just how I remembered it used to be in the old days. Just professionals going in there and being great. And my job is to bring the best out of them and make everybody have fun. And sometimes it will be a little bit of a look, but to bring out the art of that is to bring out a little bit of aggression without putting anybody in a bad mood. So having their energy, if they have just bringing, I can't get this, turn that into pure energy to go in the track. And I think you hear that in Red. You hear if there was any aggravation or aggression or anything like that, they put the energy into the track. And that's a pro band, because a lot of other ones, it'll ruin the day and they can't do anything with it. But they knew how to channel that energy and really field anything that I threw at them, which was really, really cool. It was great to see.
We had plenty of conversations before we even went to the studio with this song. We talked about the song and talked about the vibe we wanted to get, and the whole Vixen thing, like the chorus. And we talked a lot about it too. about where we wanted to go with the song. So I think we were pretty prepared, all of us together, when we actually went into the studio. We knew what we wanted to get out of this song, how to make it ours. And Fred was like the band leader, in this whole thing. He says, okay, I know what you guys want. I know what Vixen's about. Let's capture that. And I think,
and that was months of conversations with Roxy, literally months. We were on the phone. A Sunday afternoon, we'd spend a couple hours on the phone really talking about,
about the Big Lebowski. Mostly jokes about the Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah, there's no bowling on Shabbos.
Well, listen, I gotta wrap this up, and I also want people to hear this song that Roxy and I've just spent a half an hour talking about, and Fred jumped in there at the end. And sorry, Fred, if there was some communications issues there, but we're glad we were able to get you in here for some thoughts at the end. And congrats to both of you. It sounds great, and I hope that more comes, and I hope there's a record down the line. And I think it's awesome that there's some new music from Vixen out there as well. So I'm going to let the audience hear it right now, and best to both of you. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for having us.
Very much.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. I'll see you both soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Ciao.
Bye-bye. There you go,
Bye.
everybody. That is Fred Coury and Roxy Petrucci.